Where are you now after yesterday and this morning about should President Biden step down as a candidate?
Well, we're having a briefing today. I don't know if it's going to be worth anything at all, but the highest levels of the Biden campaign are going to come in and explain to us the situation. The information I've been receiving this entire week in Washington is that Biden has taken a hit in the key battleground states in terms of his re-election as president, and that is reaching down to senatorial and congressional races. I tell you, I think it's been clear from what I've said this morning in our interview. I think the re-election of Donald Trump would be a disaster, a constitutional disaster for the United States. And I think we've got to use our good judgment to move forward. And I'll go to this briefing with an open mind, but I have some serious questions and doubts as to whether Joe Biden, under the current circumstances, can beat Donald Trump.
Well, we act like this contested convention is unique to our Constitution and to our Republican democracy. But back before 1960, there were contested conventions all the time. And in fact, guys like Abraham Lincoln and FDR, they were nominated by way of contested conventions.
Scott, I think the earliest memory I have of anything political is watching the 1960 convention when John Kennedy was the Democratic nominee, and there was a fight on the floor. I remember watching that as a teenager and thinking to myself, this is a really unusual world I know nothing about. Well, it became part of my life, as you can tell. But I think if it comes to that, we can have an orderly process to choose a successor. But the first things first, establish whether or not Biden has any chance to win. And secondly, if not, he's got to be urged to withdraw. He has legally the delegates and the nomination wrapped up, but that doesn't mean he has the election wrapped up. I hope he'll be a realist.
Today's press conference is important, isn't it?
Well, it turns out every one of them is. And what it boils down to is pretty simple. What he did in that debate was a terrible, embarrassing moment. He lost it, and he said as much afterwards. And, the reality is, and people have said this, I went through this with my mom and my father, and I've seen it, and it just gets worse. It doesn't get better. If that's the case, if we're dealing with a condition that is threatening his ability to express himself at the campaign aggressively, we've got to be honest about it.
All right, Senator, thanks for being generous with your time. Thank you very much. Talk again soon, okay?
Thanks, Scott.
All right, Senator Dick Durbin here today. This is the Morning Matt.